Jazz just had a weapon pulled on her during a live stream, and honey, what happened at Streamer University has the entire content creation community shaken to its core. We're talking about dangerous incidents happening in real time, Cinco finally addressing his Brooklyn Frost drama, and Tia officially cutting ties with Daysha in the messiest way possible. But before we dive into these absolutely shocking events that are making streamers question their safety, let me tell you exactly how Cenat's Streamer University turned from a dream opportunity into a nightmare scenario that has everyone asking, is the content creation world becoming too dangerous for its own good? You see, what was supposed to be the most groundbreaking event in streaming history, with Cenat's Streamer University running from May 22nd to 25th, 2025 at the University of Akron, has now exploded into the most controversial moment in content creation. Most people think this was just an educational weekend for aspiring creators. But what really happened behind the cameras? That's where things get absolutely twisted. And what I discovered while researching this story, it's so much more dangerous than anyone initially thought. We're not just talking about typical influencer drama. We're talking about weapons being pulled, threats being made, and young creators being put in situations that could have ended tragically. Let me break down exactly what went down, because every single detail matters. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why the streaming industry is facing its biggest safety crisis ever. Here's what nobody is talking about. The weapon incident involving Jazz happened during what was supposed to be a safe, controlled environment at Streamer University. Over 150 content creators were selected from more than 1 million applicants to attend this exclusive event. And instead of learning and networking, they witnessed something that could have turned deadly in seconds. Can you imagine being selected for the opportunity of a lifetime, only to have someone pull a weapon on you while thousands of people are watching live? Because that's exactly what Jazz experienced. And it gets so much worse when you realize this isn't an isolated incident. According to multiple sources, this incident caused significant shock and concern among viewers and other streamers who were watching live. Let that sink in for a second. We're talking about content creators who thought they were in a safe educational environment, only to discover that the volatile nature of live streaming can turn dangerous anywhere, anytime. But wait, because what happened next is absolutely unbelievable. The incident occurred within the context of what was supposed to be a prestigious content creation initiative. Cenat originally conceived this as a weekend program to help aspiring streamers with their careers, but now it's become a cautionary tale about the dark side of live streaming culture. I literally had to process this multiple times because the level of danger these young creators are being exposed to is staggering. This isn't just about content creation anymore. This is about life and death situations happening in real time. But it gets worse. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does someone even get to the point where weapons are being pulled at what's supposed to be an educational event? Because behind all this chaos, there are real people whose dreams of content creation success are being turned into nightmares by a culture that has completely lost control. The streaming industry has created an environment where anything goes for content, where boundaries don't exist, and where young creators are being pushed into increasingly dangerous situations just to get views. Think about it. What kind of pressure are these streamers under that they end up in scenarios where weapons become involved? And the more I dug into this story, the more I realized this isn't just about one incident at Streamer University. This is about a systematic problem in the content creation world where safety is being sacrificed for entertainment. The hosts and commentators who covered this event expressed genuine concern about the volatile and often dramatic nature of live streaming environments. When industry professionals are worried about creator safety, you know we've reached a tipping point, because this isn't happening in isolation. There's a whole pattern here that connects to everything we've been seeing in the streaming world lately. We've seen incidents like Kick streamer Prime Lightskin pulling out a gun during an altercation with a couple, and multiple other cases where weapons have been involved in streaming incidents. Remember when we thought streaming was just about gaming and entertainment? Well, turns out that was just the beginning. What we're seeing now is a culture where dangerous behavior is being normalized, where boundaries are constantly being pushed, and where young creators are being put at risk for content. Popular streamer Amorant was attacked by gunmen in her own home in March 2025, showing that the danger isn't just limited to public streaming events. The timeline is absolutely wild when you put all the pieces together. We're talking about an industry that's spiraling out of control. You won't believe what happened next. While all this chaos was unfolding, Cinco, who was actually one of the selected students at Streamer University, decided this was the perfect time to address his ongoing drama with Brooklyn Frost. And let me tell you, what he revealed about their relationship is absolutely explosive. According to his exclusive interview with the Shade Room, Cinco opened up about how Brooklyn became too comfortable with disrespecting him. He described a relationship where saying no simply wasn't an option, where he was constantly being taken advantage of, and where abuse allegations and cheating claims became the norm. And honestly, I need to know what you think about this, because between the weapon incidents and the relationship drama, it feels like the content creation world is becoming more dangerous by the day. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think there's a connection between the pressure to create viral content and the increasingly dangerous situations these streamers are finding themselves in? Because I'm genuinely curious how people are processing the fact that weapons are now being pulled at educational events. But listen to this. The Cinco and Brooklyn Frost situation gets even more disturbing when you understand the full context. Jay revealed that Brooklyn allegedly cheated, and despite her denials, he maintains we both literally know the truth. This wasn't just a normal breakup. This was a toxic relationship that played out in front of millions of people. When I tell you, this adds a whole new dimension to what's happening in the streaming world. I mean, it completely reframes how we think about content creation relationships, because this isn't just about entertainment. If these allegations are true, we're talking about abuse, manipulation, and psychological warfare happening in real time on social media. The fact that Jay felt comfortable addressing this drama while other creators were dealing with weapon incidents at the same event shows just how normalized toxic behavior has become in this industry. And that's when I realized this isn't just about individual incidents. This is about how the entire culture of content creation is becoming increasingly dangerous and unstable. What's really disturbing is how this fits into a much bigger pattern in the streaming industry. We've seen how creators are being pushed to create more extreme content, how boundaries are constantly being crossed, and how young people are being put in dangerous situations just to maintain their relevance. The question everyone should be asking is, how many more creators are going to get hurt before the industry takes responsibility for the culture it's created? How many more weapon incidents need to happen before streaming platforms implement real safety measures? And the answer to that question, it's probably going to shock you. Think about how many times we've seen streamers get into dangerous situations for content. From streamers accidentally firing real guns on camera to creators being stalked and threatened in their own homes, the pattern is clear. The pursuit of viral content is putting people's lives at risk. When you look at the scope of what's happening, weapon incidents at educational events, toxic relationships being exploited for content, and young creators being pushed into increasingly dangerous situations, you start to see a picture of an industry that has completely lost its moral compass. The fact that these incidents are happening at events like Streamer University, which was supposed to be about education and positive growth, shows that nowhere is safe anymore. The toxic culture has infected every aspect of content creation. So where does this leave us now? The weapon incident involving Jazz has sparked a broader conversation about creator safety and the responsibilities of platforms and event organizers. We're talking about potential changes to how live streaming events are managed, increased security measures, and a complete reevaluation of what constitutes acceptable content. The legal implications alone are massive. We're talking about potential lawsuits, criminal investigations, and regulatory scrutiny that could change the entire landscape of content creation. But what happens next? That depends on whether the industry takes these warning signs seriously, whether platforms implement real safety measures, and whether creators themselves demand better protection. What's particularly significant is that incidents like this are happening at high-profile events with major industry figures involved. Cenat himself expressed frustration with the backlash the event received, saying he would never host Streamer University again, which suggests that even the biggest names in streaming are reconsidering their approaches. Let's not forget the Ty and Daysha situation brewing amid this chaos. While everyone focused on weapon incidents and relationship drama, these sisters from Taylor Girls dealt with a fallout tearing apart their brand. The end of T and Daysha's professional and personal relationship highlights the toll of toxic streaming culture. When family can't work together due to industry pressures, it's clear something is broken. The reasons for their breakup are still being explored, but sources suggest it stems from past conflicts and new developments that made their partnership unsustainable. This deterioration of relationships under pressure from content creation is increasingly common. It's particularly sad because T and Daysha built their brand together as sisters, yet the industry's demands seem to have driven them apart. The incidents involving Jazz, Cinco, and Ty and Daysha reflect a larger issue within the streaming industry, which prioritizes engagement over safety and views over decency. They highlight a systematic problem emerging from a culture that normalizes dangerous behavior and exploits toxic relationships for content. The serious abuse allegations in Jay Cinco's relationship and the potential tragedy from Jazz's weapon incident underline the industry's impact on personal relationships. Each week reveals disturbing new incidents, raising questions about the industry's accountability. Are creators at risk until change happens? This isn't just isolated events, but a broader failure to protect those who generate profit. Addressing these concerns is essential, as a risk taken by creators to expose dangers emphasize the severity of the situation. Ignoring safety can lead to more harm, damaged relationships, and tragedies. This isn't mere gossip. It questions the sustainability of content creation without risking safety for views. The streaming industry stands at a pivotal moment where toxic culture must be addressed, given the visible repercussions such as violence and relationship breakdowns. We must demand better from platforms and creators because silence perpetuates this culture. Subscribe for updates, as the streaming industry is at a critical juncture, and future decisions will shape whether it moves towards safer practices or continues its harmful trajectory.